Lana Knedlick, and I am the president of KC Legal. Thank you for being with us this evening as we celebrate Kansas City's first bar association dedicated to the LGBT and allied community.
Yes.
Thank you also for being here on this very lovely snow-free evening. It's nice to have our rescheduled kickoff on a night in which we don't have to compete with the weather, with Billy Joel, with the holiday parties, and of course, Tim Gunn of Project Runaway fame out in Overland Park. We are proud to have with us this evening a couple of individuals that I want to recognize: Dean Suney of the UMKC Law School, and of course our keynote speaker tonight, Judge Wolf of the Supreme Court of Missouri. I would also like to introduce those members of the Board of Directors in attendance tonight. If you could just wave as I call your name. Aaron House, our Vice President, Mike Carroll, our Secretary, Eddie Gladbeck, I haven't seen yet, Shannon Peoples, Jessica Haynes, Lisa Bruner, Barb Wilson, Kay Madden, Gabe Zorogasqua, and I haven't seen Julie, so that's our board. In any event, before we hear from one of Missouri's most esteemed judges, I would like to say a little bit about our organization, its beginnings, and its mission. And I would also like to acknowledge and thank our sponsors for tonight. KC Legal really began in our minds over 2 years ago over the course of a couple of casual lunches. And it really just kind of stuck in our minds until last spring when I met with Aaron House, our vice president, and we decided it was time to make KC Legal a reality. The first task was choosing a board, and if you take a look at the names that I just mentioned, which are also streaming in the background on the PowerPoint, the one thing that you should notice is that our board is diverse. There are lawyers from big firms, from small firms, from litigation, from transactional work, from academia, from industry, and from government. We also have board members who are men and women, who are gay and straight, our allies, and we also have various racial backgrounds. Next, we had to develop our mission, and that too you will see streaming in the PowerPoint in the background. But I want to talk briefly tonight about our mission, and if you know me, you know that I love clever acronyms, and so in keeping with that, I think that our mission can be best summed up with the phrase, keeping it real. That's R-E-A-L. The R in our real mission stands for relationships. One of our main goals is to network with Kansas City legal community, with each other, and with potential and existing clients. For one of our first projects, we are building an online database so that when potential clients or law students want to know what law firms and lawyers are supportive of LGBT issues, they will have a resource that has previously not been available to them. But of course, relationships mean even more. In our view, in my view, it's the responsibility of my generation to create a better environment in which the next generation can thrive. We want to do this with our young and future legal professionals by building real relationships with them and mentoring them. This includes building relationships with the local law schools, especially their LGBT and allied student groups, just like Outlaws here at UMKC. We also aim to develop relationships with other legal professionals in Kansas City to further KCMBA's commitment to diversity, which really became prominent a couple of years ago when Sly James became president. Following in those great footsteps, KC Legal is committed to building real relationships with other local bar associations. In the course of promoting this event back in December, I had the opportunity to talk with folks like Tracy Bornman at the Association of Women Lawyers, with Lisa Westergaard at the Asian American Bar Association, with Layla McMullen at the Hispanic Bar Association, and we already have a couple of joint socials planned for 2008. Our real relationships are about embracing these allied organizations, because in the end we are united by the challenges and issues in building a truly diverse legal community in Kansas City. The E in our real mission stands for education. Even though many of us are LGBT and allied lawyers, unfortunately we don't often know about the state of the law in Kansas or Missouri concerning LGBT issues, whether it's foster care or adoption, estate planning, or even separation. This is another area where relationships are key. I'm pleased to announce that KC Legal will be partnering with the Kansas Bar Association to sponsor a CLE in either March or April of this year on LGBT issues. The A in our real mission stands for advocacy. And I want to be clear on this. We are a nonprofit, nonpartisan, non-political organization. And there are several other organizations out there, whether it's Promo, KEC, HRC, that lobby and endorse candidates. And of course, we're going to be supportive of these groups on issues like MONA or the Federal Employment Non-Discrimination Act or the Matthew Shepard Hate Crimes Act. So, where is our real advocacy role? In large part, this involves encouraging law firms to adopt non-discrimination policies, not only those that protect a person from harassment based on sexual orientation, but also on gender identity and gender expression. Another large issue that many of us face is the lack of domestic partnership benefits, and this is an area where law firms and KC Legal can lead the way. Currently, it's my understanding that most insurance companies in Kansas and Missouri will not even offer domestic partnership benefits to their insureds if they have less than 100 employees. We, as an organization, need to reach out to our law firm sponsors and our members and use that leverage to get those types of policies changed. Lastly, what is the L word in keeping it real? Any ideas? Well, I've already mentioned leveraging, so how about lawyers, liberty, listening, or even libation, which, by the way, I plan to do on later tonight. No, for me, the L in keeping it real stands for finally not being left out at the table. When there's something going on in the legal community involving diversity, we need to be there. We need to be there in an organized fashion, willing and ready to help out. We need a seat at the table. And as always, we need to keep it real. With that, I would like to recognize